Hey there. So, I was looking through some old videos I found on an old hard drive from my previous computer, and I found that I happened to make a full beginner Mitsuru guide for Persona 4 Arena Ultimax 6 years ago. This was before I really committed to YouTube. At this point, I had uploaded fighting game videos, but they were mostly like simple combo guides and archives of tournaments that I used to run locally. So I kind of joked around on Twitter that, hey, I found this 6-year-old guide. Wouldn't it be funny if I uploaded it? And a few people actually convinced me, why not? Just upload it. Who cares? So this is this is a guide for a game that is still sort of alive and well. There are people that play it, but not too many. It's not quite what it was. It's not really making an appearance at most offline tournaments. But this is a game that was very near and dear to my heart. This was probably the fighting game that I competed in the most for the longest amount of time, and also kind of got me into competing with fighting games in the first place. Also, I think maybe the most interesting thing about this to me is that I can go back and see how I used to teach people in fighting games. This was probably the first time I ever recorded something with my voice in an attempt to teach people anything relating to fighting games. Everything before this I had uploaded, I had not actually put my voice in the video. So I made like an Azrael combo video for Blaze Blue. I made some combo examples for some characters like Mitsuru in the past. But I never really uploaded anything with my voice because I wasn't really comfortable with my voice. I think most people don't like the sound of their own voice. And I must have watched this guide back after I recorded it and thought like, ugh, I don't want people to hear this. I don't want to hear this. So never uploaded it, but I'm looking at it now and it's kind of okay. It's not great. The pacing isn't amazing. It's a little scatterbrained. It's a little slow at some parts. It's not as organized as everything I upload now, but it's interesting seeing how I used to make content like this and how I've kind of come a long way with the quality of that now, besides just the fact that now I have better means to record video, better means to record audio, better techniques to kind of clean all that up and make sure it's more presentable. But this is something I'm just going to post in its entirety. I'm sure this is something that only a few of you care about at all, but if you ever played Persona or you're just interested in what it was like, this might be interesting to you too. Anyway, here is a beginner Mitsuru guide for Persona 4 Arena Ultimax. Enjoy. Hey, 2021 Wrath here, just for a little bit longer. I just rewatched this entire Mitsuru guide, and I gotta say, it is really fascinating to me how bad it is in some ways. It's actually really motivating to me just to see how bad I used to be at making content, how bad I used to be at getting my point across and teaching people things, because I don't think the information in this guide is wrong or bad. It's just that the pacing is awful. I get distracted at a bunch of points and don't finish my thought. I don't really seem to have a plan for what I'm doing as I'm doing it. So it takes me 50 plus minutes to get probably 20 minutes worth of information across. And obviously that isn't the best. So in a weird way, I'm watching this and I think, well, this is actually really motivating just to see how far I've come. So with any skill you're interested in cultivating, anything that you're interested in doing, if you suck right now and you stick with it, within a year, or in my case, 6 years later, you're going to look back and see what you did and think damn, I sucked. But it's going to feel good because you'll see how much better you are now. So I guess that's a positive takeaway of all this for me. Anyway, enjoy the guide.
Hello, this is meant to be a beginner's guide to Mitsuru in Persona 4 Arena Ultimax. Right now it's version 1.1, but the fundamentals are still, it's still going to be a good basis to learn the character even if we do ever get the 2.0 patch. So, the reason I'm making this video is because I've had a lot of people come to me and ask various questions about the character in the last few years, last couple of years at least. And I do my best to answer these questions as they come up, and I really do try to answer them to the best of my ability, but I don't have a ton of time, and it does kind of get repetitive when I get a lot of the same questions. It's nothing against anybody, but I just want to be able to have a video I can just link when someone has a question. If I've ever answered it before, hopefully I can put it in this video. And it'll be a good place to start. So when someone wants to say, pick up the character, or they just want a good place to begin, or maybe they've been playing her for a little bit but they still don't really know how to improve or what they should be doing with her, this is probably a good place to start. Hopefully this recording goes well, because my capture card has been freaking the F out. It's driving me crazy. This is my second or third time doing this. But yeah, I really do want to still help people. Like, don't be afraid to ask me a question on Twitter or ask or whatever. But I definitely want to be able to have this as an option to just kind of link people. I think it'll be kind of good to have that option to have some kind of walk through it with you step by step, visual representation, and being able to kind of talk and stuff is a lot better than working on Twitter with 160 characters and whatever. So hopefully you get the idea there. I'm just flying by the seat of my pants here. I don't have a plan for this. I'm just going to run through this as if you were sitting next to me and you just asked me, hey, teach me something about this character. I might pick her up. So that's what I'm going to do. I might go not in depth at all. I don't know. I'll try my best to make this beginner friendly, but I might end up rambling and talking about stuff that you might not get if you're just picking up the game or the character. But just bear with me and take what you can away from this. I'll timestamp what I can in the description below. So if you're interested in just a particular topic, maybe it'll be down there and you can just click that and skip to that part of the video. But if you are interested in picking her up, or you want to learn as much as you can about her and you don't feel like you're adept with her yet, definitely just watch the whole video. And like I said, I'm flying by the seat of my pants. I haven't done a video like this in a super long time, so just bear with me. I might, stutter a bit or, not really know where I'm going, but just bear with me. I might edit it a little bit. I don't plan to, because I only have so much time, and that just, I don't know, seems kind of impersonal to me. But yeah, just bear with me. That's just your disclaimer. So for starters, what kind of character is Mitsuru? Oh, by the way, this palette is my palette. So if you ever want to pick color 6, you can still do it, but it's still mine. Just saying. I'm just kidding. Anyway, what kind of character is she? I know you just don't want to hear me ramble forever and not actually show you anything, but we really do have to get this out of the way. Maybe you can skip it in the time, maybe I'll have a timestamp in the description if you don't want to hear about this, but I think it's really important to know what you're supposed to do with this character, what you're getting yourself into if you are interested in picking her up. So if you haven't done that yet, if you haven't committed to playing her yet, this is kind of what she's supposed to do, and you have to have a pretty clear idea of what she can do and what any character you want to pick up can do, and have a pretty reasonable idea of your character, their advantages and their disadvantages and their weaknesses. So Mitsuru is a spacing character, so you can kind of see these buttons are big, obviously huge buttons. This 5A reaches super far, so far, like that's like literally 2/3 of the screen right there. It's great. Her jump A is very similar, very great air to air, very good like even air to ground if they're standing. Super active, it's like 12 frames active, super good buttons. You can just see she hits a lot of space. She's really good at spacing, and that's kind of what she's supposed to do. And she just kind of, outside of that, she just kind of applies pressure. You kind of see that, you see this distance she can keep you at while she's pressuring you. It's super safe, like people can't, most characters can't mash out of this at all. Like Narukami can, he can 5B, but like most characters don't have a button that's going to hit that far. They don't have great options that hit that far. And she's just this character that's super safe and really controlling and neutral. She hits most areas of the screen very well. You kind of see 5D hits the whole screen. I wouldn't use Centaurfu that much, but it is technically a full screen low. Where 2D is great. If you're not using this button, you're screwing up. It hits the far top right of the screen and pretty much everything directly above her, in front of her, that area, and up and forward. Which is great. That's an area of the screen even characters like Margaret, who I mostly play now, has trouble hitting. Most characters can't just hit that section of the screen, and it's really great. It's really great to just be able to hit up there. I should probably have not recorded him blocking, but like that's great. Like no one else, at least I don't know, not many other characters can do that. So she controls a lot of areas on the screen. She has at least options to hit them. She spaces really well. Her pressure is really good. So she's just this really safe, strong, like in general character, but what she can't do is really mix you up. I'm not saying she doesn't have mix-up, obviously she does. Like, she has an instant overhead for one, which I didn't actually do right there, but so she has things, like she can, you know, obviously every character can throw you, she can feint into throw, or just do it, you know, whatever. She's got that. She's got her instant overhead, which I didn't space right. If you, that kind of takes a little bit of practice, but it's just jump B, OMC, jump B. It's pretty simple. Try to delay the second hit a little bit. I get questions about that a lot, but she does have some mix-up, but that requires meter. Also, after you do that one more cancel, you're going to be put into meter cooldown, so you can't build any more meter during the combo. So realistically, you're losing 50 meter, you're giving them more meter from being hit, and you don't really get anything extra. So it's kind of like a one-time deal. Her throw game is pretty good, but at this stage of the game, a lot of players above mid-level know how to option select throws. And I don't want to get into that here, but basically, you not only have to be able to punish people for whiffing a throw on the ground, which what you used to do before, let's just, if they were whiffing that throw animation, you would just do a button that would kind of put you in the air, like her jump B, or you would use her jump C. You could just jump back and do a jump B. That's what most characters do. They just jump, short hop, they backdash something, and then they hit you after you whiff the throw. But now at this stage of the game, people are... I don't want to get into it because it would be a whole video. But the idea is basically that you end up in the air whiffing a throw. And that's not actually the idea of the throw S, but it will, at that point... At that point, if you go for like a throw mix-up, they're just going to jump right over it, you know? They're going to jump right over it, or potentially they'll air throw you when you jump. So really the way she used to bait throws in vanilla, which would give her massive reward because her, you know, let's just set him to blocking after the first hit and counter it. This move, her 4B or 5B or 6B, they're all the same move, just whether she moves back, forward, or neutral. And it can be charged. It was always a really good starter, and it's a fatal starter, so on counter hit, you'll get this big, sick, nasty combo, and I'm not even doing an optimal combo here, and you just saw, like, 5k, boom, like, whatever. That's what she used to do, and it was super scary and dumb and strong and too much damage, but now at this stage of the game, like, you really can't use it in that sense to bait throws anymore, because everyone's going to be doing that OS, at least after a certain point. And the way you have to deal with that now is a little bit more tricky. Like you're going to have to use 2B a little bit just to straight up hit them out of the air, which I don't particularly like. And I actually haven't played this character in so long. I'm not like adept at beating that with her yet. Like I think this is what you kind of do. And if you're going to counter hit them whiffing an air throw, but actually I didn't even do that right. I'm way too late here. Or you just, I don't know, recognize that you hit them in the air and get your knockdown. But really, most characters now, the really, really strong ones, if throws are an important part of the game, they have a way to cover both the ground throw and the air throw at the same time. And that's basically what I'm saying. She doesn't have anything like that anymore, which is kind of a limitation. So throws are important to her because she doesn't have a strong overhead without meter. Like her AOA is awful, so her mix-up is just in general not great. But I don't know, you kind of just get around that by not really worrying about it. You don't have to mix up all the time. You can just pressure, use Mare and Karen. I don't know if you don't know what this move does, then whatever, but it's just charm, you know? It's Mare and Karen from Persona 3. This move that you hated that she used back then, it's finally good now. And it just steals meter, so it'll steal 24 meter from them over the course of like 5 to 10 seconds. I don't really know what the time is, and it'll give you 24 meter in that time. I might have the numbers wrong a little bit, but the idea is, you know, if you can use this in a combo, which you actually can in a fatal combo, which I guess I'll show because why not? Whoopsie. Also not the best at multitasking, so whatever. You get the idea. You can actually use Mare and Karen mid-combo, and it will end up stealing their meter a little bit, give you a little bit extra. Man, I'm the worst. Whatever. But in general, if you can get them to respect you long enough by frame trapping them and harassing them long enough where they're afraid to try to disrespect you, like, totally. Marin Karen's great. If you can get them to, you know, get hit by this thing, then unless you get hit, they're still charmed. If they can make you block before it hits them, then the charm will go away. If you hold it, it'll last longer. It's super slow, if you can't tell. Like, it takes a long time to get to them, especially if they're moving around. It's not as obvious when Narukami's just sitting still, but it's really easy to maneuver around. It doesn't really have like a good turning arc. It homes in, but it takes a long time. And you kind of just do things to discourage them from just sitting still forever. I guess I've just been rambling, but the point is, she's really good at spacing, she's really good at neutral, she's really good at a lot of things, but she's really not good at opening you up. That's really not her deal. If you want to do that, if you just want to run up and punch people and just, you know, overhead, cross up, you know, like throw mix-up you can't deal with, like stuff like that, you're playing the wrong character. You're definitely playing the wrong character. But if you're okay with playing, you know, patient, a little slower, she's actually really fun, you know. Give her a try. Also, disclaimer: she is a charge character. I probably should have mentioned that earlier, but what that means is that if you want to use some of her moves, you have to be able to charge them. So what that means is you're going to hold back, and then press forward and B, and you'll get her B coup droit. You have to hold back for a period of time, and then forward and A to get her A coup droit, as an example. Same with her C and D Tentara Fu. Those are actually like sort of full screen lows, super slow, wouldn't really rely on that for much, kind of gimmicky. This is a staple in her combos, her Bufula, C Bufula, and D Bufula. You need both of them for your combos. And so what that kind of means is you need to, if you want to use these tools, which if you're not, then you're not playing the character to the degree that you should, you have to be able to hold charges during your pressure and during your combos. And if you want to have these tools available, then you have to be able to do that. You have to make that a habit. It's super easy, and trust me, I haven't thought about this since the second week I picked this character up. It's so easy, but you know, initially it's scary. Like, people just don't want to play a charge character. It's like it's too hard or something, and it's really not. She's, in my mind, a very simple, easy, low execution character, to be honest, compared to a lot of characters. Persona's not the highest execution game, period, but she's really consistent, so you really shouldn't have to worry about that. As far as what you should kind of be doing if you're pressuring, actually, let's just say it's not pressure, let's just say it's you landed the hit and you want to combo into this move. By the way, I actually still haven't gone through her buttons yet, but I should just touch on this a little bit, that, you know, the charges, you have to be able to do that, make it a habit, and I'll touch on that a little bit more later. For now, let's just kind of run through her buttons really quick, because I forgot to do that, and I think that's important. Obviously, her 5A, super good, reaches super far, in the past version of the game, in vanilla Persona 4 Arena that came out like 3 or 4 years ago. This move, at this distance, you could duck it, which was pretty bad. Most characters could, except for like Narukami, Teddy, and Aegis, and they were considered tall, crouching characters. So they couldn't block it, or they couldn't duck it at full screen, but every other character, it would just like whiff right over their head. In this version, that's not the case, which is great. So her 5 is actually longer than it used to be. It's just this great move. Her auto combo, I guess you might hear it referred to as dial A from time to time, is super good on a hit. It's both super good and kind of not amazing, and I'll show you why for both. So for starters, it gets a lot of corner carry. That's just so 5A, 5AA, and 5AAA. It sounds kind of dumb, but that's kind of the annotation you're going to see. And that's just all just pressing A over and over again. A lot of corner carry. In pressure, it's great because, hold on. In pressure, it's great because you can just see, first of all, you can delay 5A into 5AA for like forever. So it's great for frame traps. You can use 5A into, you know, other things. And if they start trying to interrupt you out of doing that, you can just, you know, delay that 5AA and counter hit them. It's actually also a really good starter, so that's good too. And just the amount of distance you get out of this, and you see the spacing it's keeping you at is great, because most characters can't do anything to this. Like Narukami, like he can 5B, but most characters don't have a button that's going to reach that far, and even if you're technically at frame disadvantage, you're so far away, it's not going to matter. So her auto combo is really good, but on hit, it's actually not very positive, and it's one of the only auto combos in the game that isn't going to knock down on hits, so that is an issue. So it's an issue where you don't get a knockdown, you don't get to have a very advantageous end to your combo, and that does cause some issues where when a character has a very fast 5A, like Narukami's is 5 frames, Yosuke's is 5 frames, Aigis is 5 frames, a few of them. Most characters have 5 or 6 frame 5As. When they have 5 frames, they can actually trade with you if you try to continue pressure after your auto combo. And I don't know if I can really do this the way I have this set up to record, but actually, yeah, I don't have a real way to do that right now. I could switch the characters and switch who was player 1 or 2, and I could show you, but just trust me, if someone mashes 5A after you finish your auto combo, it's actually technically like sort of disadvantageous for you. So if you try to press a button afterwards, because technically you're plus, but your 5A is so slow that you might trade with their 5A. If you're really far away when you finish your auto combo, it's not going to matter because you're going to outspace that 5A anyway. But let's say you're in the corner and you finish your auto combo, you are definitely going to trade at that point. So at that point, you're going to have to either backdash out, or there's also other things people can do after an auto combo. If the other person backdashes right away, they can technically kind of make your 5A whiff afterwards if you try to start pressure with that. It's really kind of annoying. To deal with that, you gotta like delay your 5A instead of just hitting right away afterwards. You gotta like delay it a bit and you'll catch them in the air. It's kind of annoying, the kind of game you have to play off this. Like most characters, they just hit you, you know, they just hit you and they just get like a full combo, they get a knockdown, they build more meter. It's like, it seems like the reward is so small, but to be fair, you don't really, I don't think people want Mitsuru to have too much of a reward off of this. That'd be just too good. Her 5A on its own is too strong, so that's totally fine. Her 2A is a pretty good tool in general, but there's really no good way to convert off it. That like you're pretty much just going to be like hold down back 1A, 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 blah. I slowed that down so I could talk at the same time. But that's what you're going to do, and that's kind of all you can get to, unless you get a counter hit or something along those lines. So 2A is pretty good, but it is, I don't know, it's a little disappointing that she can't convert off it in any way, but again, she really doesn't need to convert off everything. She'd be a little bit too good if she could. Her 5B is pretty strong. It's decently, but it's really good for frame traps. It's a fatal starter, so if you manage to counter hit someone with this, with a frame trap, or maybe you go over their throw or something like that, it's going to fatal counter, and you're going to get a fat combo off it. It's really good. You're going to get, you know, you can combo into Maren Karen like I was trying to do earlier, which I fudged it, but really, even, like, I'm not even going to do anything optimal here. Just, like, first thing that pops into my head, I'm just going to do 4.5k, almost. And that was, like, totally unoptimal. I could have thrown Maren Karen in there as well, stole, like, 20 meter. So, the reward's good. It's a good button, but you really don't use it outside of pressure or combos. Like, you're not going to use this in neutral. If you ever see someone use this button, they probably tried to do B droit and they just didn't get the charge long enough. They just probably didn't hold it long enough, and that's what they got. You know, they got like. Actually, I'm still getting the charge. She has a really short time needing to charge. Like you think you have to hold this charge for like 3 seconds. You only have to hold it for like half a second or like 1 second. It's really easy. Charges are super baby easy. If you're scared about them, just be patient and just keep practicing for like a week or 2. You're gonna get it. It's not super hard. So as far as when you'd use 5B, you know, you could use that kind of as a frame trap a little bit. If you charge 5B, because you can actually hold it, you can either tap it and be really quick, or you can charge it, and on Fatal that'll crumple, which gives you, a much fatter combo. I'm not going to do that right now, but it'll be like 5k instead of 4.5. You'll also be advantageous if you charge it all the way. So let's say blocking first hit. So a lot of the time if you charge that and just run forward, if they try to jump out, you'll catch them jumping. So every character has startup on their jump, which is like 3 frames on the ground, 5 frames in the air, something along those lines. And you'll get a combo out of it. They'll try to escape thinking that you're negative or something, or they'll try to press a button, but your charge 5B dash cancel is super plus. Actually, I haven't talked about dash canceling at all. 5A can be back dash canceled, so I mean that's something. Isn't the biggest thing in the world, but it's there. It makes it super safe. There's a lot of situations where maybe someone uses a persona full screen, you just tag the persona, backdash, you broke the card, you're relatively safe. That's really good. Her 5B can be forward dash canceled, uncharged or charged. If you charge it, it's going to be plus. Her 5C, which I'll get to in a sec, is back dash cancelable and forward dash cancelable, which is really good. So her next button is 2B. This anti-air was godlike in vanilla. It was the upper body invul kicked in on like the 8th frame, but it was invul completely from frame 5 through 7, which is just completely broken if you think about it. Like, you can just mash this crap like all the time and it just works. Like, it hit for like the completely wrong reasons all the time. It was great button, but now it's like, it's still the same, but without that invul there. Because obviously shouldn't have had it in the first place. They took the invul away, but they didn't replace it with upper body invuls. So in this version of the game, you're going to get hit out of this move a lot because the upper body invulnerability doesn't kick in for a long time. And this is supposed to be your anti-air. You're trying to use this to catch people out of the air, but there's so many good air to ground buttons in this game that it's going to lose a lot more than you'd think it would. Also, it's kind of narrow. Like, you can just kind of see it's a rapier. There's some situations where it might look like it's hitting behind her, but that's honestly because the other character, their hurt box, which is the area that you can hit, got extended because they're doing some gigantic move that's covering all this extra space, and that's probably why it hit. Buttons in the air are really good in this game. Like, I don't think Mitsuru challenges her own jump B very well. Or, especially in our commies, like jump 2B, this thing's gigantic. Play against like Adachi's jump C, Margaret's jump C. Like, buttons in the air are just big in this game, and having an anti-air that can deal with it consistently is pretty rare. There aren't really too many amazing ones that are that good compared to like the risk. It's just, it's risky. It's your anti-air, but I wouldn't rely on it more than you have to. Air throws are really good. She gets a pretty fat combo. I don't know why I'm doing that, but off like a counter hit, she actually does get a combo, like 3k. Really good. Like, most characters can't do that at all. And air throws reward is in general pretty good. Her other moves, her persona attacks, like 2C is Marin Karen, like I covered earlier. 5C is this kind of whip thing, and you can frame trap with this, which is pretty good. On counter hit, again, you get like this super fat combo, but only on the ground, so you can do like 5k off this. It's really good. Or 4.6, whatever. And but in general, it's kind of a safe way to end your pressure. You can obviously dash cancel, go for a throw. You can cancel into sweep. If you haven't used 5B yet in your pressure, you can cancel into that. You can backdash cancel it. You can cancel into Mirror and Karen, and if they're respecting you enough, you can continue your pressure. So your goal is kind of, I don't know. I think your goal is going to be like one of two things. You're going to try and get some kind of reward. And that reward is either going to be Mirror and Karen to steal meter, and hopefully they respect you, or that reward is going to be forcing a situation where you either get to, you know, go for a throw mix-up or continue pressure and frame trap or something along those lines and get some kind of reward, or yeah, I mean, that's kind of what you're going to want if you are going for a reward. But honestly, with the other goal would kind of just be to get out. You know, you don't have to play Mitsu like you play a rushdown character. Like, again, if you're trying to rush down and open people up and murder them, I think you're playing the wrong character. Like, if that's kind of your playstyle, pick Aegis, you know, pick Aegis, pick Rize, pick a character that's meant to open you up and has that kind of thing. Don't pick this character that's just kind of meant to go back to neutral and win neutral. Like, there's literally no penalty for this. It's like, I'm just pressuring you. Okay, you didn't get hit, you didn't press a button. I'm just back to neutral, I win neutral, I can just do that. So that's kind of your game plan. I know I planned on organizing this into different like sections and timestamping them, but I'm kind of all over the place and I apologize for that. So her 5C is really good. It goes up to 15 hits. You can cancel it on like the 3rd, the 6th, the 9th, the 12th, the 15th, but that doesn't really matter. You don't have to keep track of that. It'll just cancel the next opportunity when you go for that next button. And finally, she has her whip attack. So her 5D and her 2D are great. Her 5D is kind of a big commitment. So like, if anyone just kind of runs forward or does anything that hits full screen or just, you know, super jumps or anything, you know, you're just whiffing this giant attack and you're gonna get counter hit. So kind of a big risk attached, but you do get a pretty big combo, and that's great. So the fact that she has a button that hits full screen where she actually converts off it is pretty rare. Most characters that can hit full screen are like zoners, and they're just hitting you with a projectile, and that's kind of the end of it. You know, they're just done at that point. You know, that they're not comboing into it, getting a knockdown, and getting like a ton of meter and an advantageous position. So that's good. Her 2D is, I think I covered this earlier, but her 2D is great. It's the only thing I can think of that covers that spot on the screen. Just catches people jumping, especially trying to get out of the corner all the time. It's a great button. Pretty low risk compared to a lot of things. Like, she recovers surprisingly quick. For how good it is, so that's pretty good. Jump D is pretty good as well. Hits the ground. It'll also hit crouchers. 5D, however, if they're crouching, they can just go right under it. So that's kind of, you know, not great. You know, to just see, oh, you whiffed 5D. Now I'm going to run forward and make you block. You know, or maybe hit you if they're fast enough. So got to be a little bit careful with that. Jump D, however, does actually hit crouchers, which is pretty good, and again will convert into a full combo. 3K is pretty much the average if you can pick them up off the ground. But again, you know, this is whiffing, you know, this is just you taking up a bunch of space. It hits a pretty specific spot on the screen too, so if you just whiff this, you're done. It has a little bit of landing recovery, it has falling recovery, has a decent amount of startup, so you don't want to use this too much, but it's definitely a good tool. Her air buttons are great. Her jump A just covers a bunch of space. Her jump B is pretty good air to ground, but doesn't cover as much space. And her jump C was godlike in the last version, but I feel like it's not quite as good anymore. It has more recovery than it used to have. More recovery, it has kind of less reward in general. And it seems, I don't know if it's slower, but in the past you could actually safe jump with it. I don't know if I can even get the timing for this anymore. With a throw? I can't remember how I did that before, but you used to actually be able to safe jump with this move, but now it's got so much recovery you can't even do that anymore. You can still use it because it actually does hit a bunch of space above her, and I don't know if I can show that easily, but you can see this thing goes super high up. Like it just hits everything up there. But you're not going to be using it too much. Her jump B is good, jump A, whatever. She doesn't have a bunch of buttons. I'm used to playing Margaret now, where she's got like a jump A, B, C, D, a jump 2, B, C, D, a jump 2, 2, C, and D. So she's got 9 air buttons, which is just ridiculous, you know. So let's talk about those charges again, because you are going to have to get in the habit of using those if you want to play this character. So let's just say, for the sake of learning the character, you're going to want to learn this one combo, and that's going to be 5AA, 6B, sweep, B dwa. And I slowed that down so I could talk, but it's going to look like that. And this is kind of a staple for her, and you're going to have to get in the habit of holding that charge after you pressed 6B. And the reason you can't just press 4B, so you can hold the charge, and this is actually going to be 4B, and then 1 is going to be what you press for your sweep. By the way, I haven't mentioned this yet, but I should probably put this at the very top of the description, but when I'm talking about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, like, those are directions. So you see if I'm holding back, that's 4. Like, if you have a number pad on your keyboard, 4 is back, 6 is forward, 5 is neutral. If you have a calculator, it's the same thing. 2 is down, 8 is up, etc., etc. So when someone says 236A, which she actually doesn't actually have a 236A special, but she has 236, 236A. That's quarter circle forward, and that would be her mirrored arrows. Again, you have to get in the habit of holding back and down back during a lot of different times during your pressure and during your combos. And you don't have to press down for her sweep. You can press down back for her sweep, and that'll let you charge both her down charge, which you need for this, which is down up, and it'll let you hold your back and forward charge. So for Dwa, it does both, which is great. So the habit that I kind of had to develop when I was learning this character is, when you go to do a 6B in a combo, you can press 6B and then immediately switch it down back. You'll still move forward, but you'll get that charge, and then you'll have that charge ready for when you need it after the sweep. So 6B down back, sweep. You can just keep holding down back during the sweep. And there you go. It's really easy. You gotta do the same kind of thing in pressure. If you are just holding back in general, like, why don't you just hold 4B sweep? Because 5B, 4B, and 6B are all the same button. It's just this one button is just whether you move forward, back, or neutral. The reason you don't want to do just 4B is because if you're not right up next to them, like that was 6B right there, if you're not right next to them, you're just going to whiff. You're going to whiff, maybe they'll mash you or reversal or something. People just do crazy stuff out of hit stun in this game. You're just going to whiff, you're going to drop your combo, you're going to miss your big opportunity. You don't want to do that. So you got to get in the habit of doing that. You're going to have to get in the habit of using 6B in your pressure and still holding your charge. Alternatively, well, not alternatively, but you also kind of want to get in the habit of holding back even when you kind of think you're not going to need it. And I wouldn't worry about it too much when you're starting out, but like if I'm... something you can do a lot with this character is to use jump A to cover the space in front of you while you're moving back. So you can instant air dash back and whiff a jump A, and if they try to approach you, it's just this... I'm going to see if I can get this, but it's going to be kind of awkward. Yeah, I'm not... My start button's on like the opposite side of my stick, so yeah. But you get the idea. It's just holding that space in front of you. If they try to approach, they should get, you know, whacked by it. And even when I'm doing that, I'm holding back the whole time. Like, as soon as I input the command for the instant air dash back, I've been holding down back ever since I pressed jump A. And that way I have that ready. If I'm... So if you get that weird hit with it, you have the charge ready. Alternatively, you can just run up and auto combo, but that's not always an option. There are some times where you really can't do anything more than just 5A, and there's actually a distance where 5AA will whiff. So at that point, you can just do 5A. If you have the charge ready, just Dwa if you recognize it, and that's at least something. That's more than nothing. more than just the 300 damage you get from 5A. So definitely just start making a habit of holding those charges. You're going to need it for combos. You're going to need it for pressure. Let's just say, like I said, you're going to want to know this combo, just 5A, 6B, sweep, B dwa. And if you're wondering why it's not working, if you tried it and it hasn't worked, it doesn't work on standing. 5B only combos into sweep on crouching opponents. So you're gonna have to get used to recognizing that. So okay, I hit them. Are they standing? I'm just gonna auto combo. I hit them. Are they crouching? I'm gonna confirm into 6B sweep B dwa. And that's kind of gonna be what you're gonna start out doing. So for that combo, it's really good. A really good way to kind of practice your charges. Really good place to start. You're going to want to do that first. But you don't want to autopilot that. Like, it's not the worst thing in the world. Technically, B dwa autopiloting into, or sweep autopiloting into B dwa is technically a frame trap, but you don't want to just do that all the time. It's not, first of all, you can get reversaled out of it. Second of all, although these dwa buttons are pretty good, which I should probably go over them, I forgot to do that really quick, they're very negative. These dwas are negative. They're -4 if they hit on the first possible frame. So anytime you're nearby and you use A dwa or use B dwa, whether it's in your pressure or it's just that you're close, it's going to be negative. -4. There isn't a button fast enough to punish you for that, but if they instant block that dwa, technically you're -6, because when you instant block, you get 2 extra frames of advantage. So they can throw you. Any character can throw you after they instant block dwa, if they know it's coming. So if you autopilot sweep into dwa too much, you can just get thrown every time. You know, if you're always doing this, expecting the hit, expecting to get the hit, then they're gonna just start like instant blocking that, throwing you, mashing. I think most people won't actually do that, but they should do that at the very least. Even if they don't instant block, you are super negative, so you're just pressed up right against them, and they get their own pressure now. You gave up your turn. You're now on the defensive with a character with slow buttons, and you just have to hold that. Like, you do have a good DP, you have a good reversal, or furious action, but that's gonna get that still can get baited. It's still a very high risk option, no matter how good it is. And it's just crazy. Like, why would you do that? Why would you purposely end your pressure in a way that gives them the advantage or punishes you? That's just crazy. You don't want to autopilot that. You don't want to assume that you got that hit. You want to get in the habit of having the charge ready so that you can convert after you got the hit, not just assuming you got it. Let's talk about dwa real quick, because it is actually a very important thing. If you hit with dwa really late, or B dwa, it's actually plus. It's actually super plus. The idea is that if you, I mean, I don't know if you like math, but you probably understand this if you've been playing characters for a while anyway. You should, if you know how frame data works, but just for the sake of argument that you don't, the attack is -4 frames on block in general, like if it hits at the very beginning. But if it hits later in the move, like from far away, like it took time for you to travel to get to them, then you still put them in the same amount of block stun that they would be in normally, but you have less animation for you to recover from. So technically, it's like, it's more advantageous that way. You have less recovery if you hit them towards the tail end of your move instead of at the beginning of it. And that way you can just be super plus. So if you use B dwa from full screen, you can actually press buttons afterwards, not to mention you're at a great distance just by default to be able to do whatever you want. Even if you're not perfectly plus, you are so far away that most characters can't do anything to you. So hurrah, great. The downside of this, or I don't know, not the downside, but both 5A, like I mentioned earlier, can kind of get low profiled by ducking. At least I should have mentioned that. And I've messed up this recording once because the capture card crapped out, so it's all like a blur right now. But both 5A and dwa can both get low profiled. So dwa technically doesn't have chest property. The way that 5A works is it has a chest property attribute on it, and other characters' sweeps they have chest invulnerability. So it's like you have a property on your attack, and they have invulnerability to that property, and that's just the laziest way to think about it. And yeah, so sweeps will beat that. Sweeps won't beat Dwa. Dwa doesn't have chest property, but there are a lot of moves in the game, like Narukami's slide, that will actually low profile both her 5A and if I can do this right, it will low profile her Dwa as well. So Narukami has that. Mitsuru's own sweep will do that. Her sweep will do it. Her Margaret has a slide that'll do the same thing. Like, a lot of characters have things that will beat Dwa, so definitely keep that in mind. You'll have to be aware of that. You can beat that by using 5B to go over it. You kind of just step over that move, or you can jump. You can use 2A to just, you know, catch their sweep or their slide or whatever. Let me think here. Forgot what I was getting into at this point. Oh yeah, so Dwa also has... A Dwa doesn't have anything special about it on block or in general, but B Dwa actually has fatal counter recovery. So no matter what move the opponent hits you out of this with, if they, you know, jump over it or something, they will fatal counter you. And if they have their confirms on point, they're going to do extra damage, they're going to build extra meter, and they're going to get extra corner carry, and they're going to get a good knockdown. And all of that is bad. You know, you don't want... like, obviously, I shouldn't have to tell you that, but it's worth considering. You don't want to throw this out like a maniac. Use it once in a while. It's a great tool, you know. It's huge. It hits for a truckload of damage. Like, you don't get a combo off it, but it hits for a ton of damage, you know. And it can be advantageous in full screen, so it is a good tool. You should use it, but you should not just spam it, you know. You gotta put some thought into it. Otherwise, the reward is going to be, or the risk is going to be way greater than the reward at that point. So, now let's talk about those charges during pressure. And kind of something you're really going to have to learn to do is confirming sweep. Because sweep, actually, let's just say they're blocking everything except crouching, except low attacks. So, if you hit with sweep, sweep is a really good move. Like, I actually should have covered this earlier, I don't know why I didn't, but sweep is great. Sweep is just fantastic. It hits pretty far, it goes under a lot of moves, including other moves similar to 5A, like Narukami's 5B. You know, every sweep in the game has that chest property invul, and some other moves have it, like Narukami's 5B. And it'll just low profile it, you know, just... low profiles all sorts of stuff. It hits pretty far in front of her. Moves are pretty far forward. You can also feint it. So if you hold A and B, instead of just letting it rip, if you hold it, you feint, and you can just kind of like check them out, go for a throw. Like, that's kind of a pretty big staple for her. It's either go for the throw or go for the throw bait, where you'll backdash over the throw or whatever, or jump out of it, or jump C, or use 4B to go over it, whatever. That's your basic goal. As you get better with her, you're gonna have to learn to deal with people option selecting your throw, but that's kind of a more complicated topic. I don't really want to get into that right now because I'll be here forever. But her sweep is a really good tool. You can frame trap with it in different situations. It'll catch them if they're trying to up back, if they're trying to do all sorts of weird things. If they stand up for any reason, really, it's gonna hit. And you gotta be ready to convert it. I really, like I was saying earlier, you don't want to autopilot that B Dwa. It does do a pretty good amount of damage, but you can just react with A Dwa. Like, be like, oh, I'm holding down back because of the way I'm structuring my pressure well. I should have that charge ready. And on that sweep, notice that it hit, like, oh, okay, it worked. I can set him to block randomly, and I should get it every time. Like, whether if you don't get the hit, then you don't follow it up. If you do get the hit, then you do follow it up. It's just that simple, you know. If you're closer to the corner, you don't have to use A Dwa. You can use SP Dwa and get a full combo. I know I haven't talked about her combos yet, but that's kind of what you're going to do. If you're in the corner and you can combo into SP Dwa, or you can combo into sweep in the first place, that's what you're going to do. You're going to get a full combo that way. Mid-screen, you can also get a full combo. Actually, not quite. You can just confirm the A Dwa after, you know, confirm the sweep, combo to A Dwa, and then you can just combo from there after you one more cancel that. So if you have the meter and you think it's going to kill, go for it. Or if you have the meter and you think it's worth it, go for it. Obviously, worry about your meter management. Think about that. Don't just spend a bunch of meter. That's all you're going to do is put them in Awakening, give them more options, and they're still not dead yet. So now you have less meter for your own options. So think about those things. But definitely, you want to get in the habit of confirming your sweep. Don't autopilot it. If you do autopilot it, then people are going to catch on, and once you have them block that dwa, you're at disadvantage. You can't press any more buttons. If you do, you're going to get outmashed, you're going to get thrown, whatever. You know, you just don't want to be in that situation. You don't want to purposely give up your pressure when you're a character that, you know, can just... you're a character that can just kind of go back to winning neutral, and if you're like mid-screen especially, and they block sweep, like, it pushes them pretty far back. A lot of characters can't do too much to that. You just see like the distance you put them at, like that's not bad at all. There's a lot of things you can do with this character that keep you at a distance. It's just nuts, you know. You can even use, you don't have to use her dwas as your only charge option and pressure. You can use her mirrors, and I haven't covered it yet, but if you dwa through a mirror, you kind of like fly through it and you get like extra frame advantage. You can combo off it, it freezes on hit. Not the most important thing in the game, but it's a thing, I guess. I don't focus on it too much. So yeah, I guess I'm just kind of beating a dead horse at this point, but learn to confirm your sweep. It's going to help you. You actually get a safe jump off of air hit dwa as well, whether it's the A version. Actually, I set him to late tech, I think. So let's set that to regular. But you should be able to safe jump if he were to DP there. Then you'd just end up blocking it. You know, if you hold back while you're falling, you'll end up landing before the DP would hit you, and you're fine. I know I may be talking to you like your children, but I don't know whether you... It might be insulting to you if you do know all this basic information, but if you don't, like, I don't want to pretend that you do. You know, I just want to cover all my bases here. What next? I guess we should talk about combos for a second. Her combos, in general, like, if they're standing, there's really only one thing you should do, and that's probably just auto combo. You know, like, technically the better combo would be like that does like 400 extra damage, but really 400 damage is not going to win or lose you the game that often. Not most of the time. And the way meter works in this game, or at least with the way meter works this game, I don't know how to get rid of the first attack bonus in training mode, by the way. If you know, just let me know, because I've been trying to figure this out forever. But the third hit of her auto combo builds you an extra like 13 or 14 meter. So that auto combo is always going to build you about 20 or so, which is really, really good. You know, that auto combo bonus, it also builds back part of your burst. I don't know if many people know that. So it's just good. It's lazy. You don't have to worry about really dropping your combo or anything. There are times when you have your charge available, and if you want to use 6B, you might end up using B dwa instead. Like, this is what you might want to do. But if you already have that charge ready, and you go to do 6B, you might get dwa instead. So sometimes auto combo is really all you can do. It's really consistent. Just go for it. If they're standing, go for that. If they're crouching, and you can confirm the hit. Again, if you have that weird situation where you have your charge and you didn't actually want it, which does come up, you know, you probably should still just auto combo, but whenever you can, 6B, sweep, B dwa. So yeah, get used to just confirming into sweep in that situation, 6B, sweep, and then if you're mid-screen, you can, if you have 50 meter, you can convert or confirm into, what is wrong with me? Like a basic combo or something. Wow, I don't look like a professional right now, do I? My point is, if you have 50 meter, you can convert it mid-screen for like an extra 1,000 damage or so. If you're in the corner, it's really easy, and you get even more damage, and all you need is 25 meter. And in the past version, every time you comboed into B Dwa, you could always pick it up without meter. I had to OMC to do it in this version because you can't do it that way, but in this version, what you're going to do is you're just going to convert into SB Dwa. And what you do off that combo is, I mean, optimal would technically be like, I think something along the lines of that. But and if you don't know all out attack, if you get the bonus at the end, it just builds you a ton of meters, so that's really good. But actually consistently getting the all out attack, mashing and getting all 18 hits and still getting the launch is surprisingly kind of a pain in the butt. And it's harder if you do it in a combo because it's more prorated, so they have a harder time. You have a harder time, or like a shorter window to actually do it all, and it's really annoying. It's like the joke is that Mitsuru players are the only players that can actually consistently doing it. God, how do words work? I've been talking for too long. Whatever, like, you get it. It's hard. I don't consider it really worth it for the most part unless you're super good at it. Like next version, you can just hold AOA and it'll actually just do it for you if you just keep holding the button before you let go. It's great. I can't wait till we can get that, if we ever do. But in the corner, you're gonna convert into SB Dwa. I might link a video to like basic combos that I made like probably a year and a half ago at this point. And if you're interested in like how to make it more optimal, like, go for it, you know, watch the video, but don't focus on combos. For the love of God, do not pick up this character and play her for combos, because the combos aren't even that hard. Like, it's really easy to just be like, okay, whatever, good enough. She doesn't really have anything that's super difficult, and I really wouldn't recommend going for any of it. She does have some like really like dumb looking stuff. Am I gonna get this my first try? Holy shit. So yeah, she's got some really dumb stuff, but like that stupid side switch is don't ever do that in a match. Like, you're never gonna get that in a match. I'm not even gonna tell you how to do it in this video because it's like, it's not worth it. I'm surprised I got it twice in a row, to be honest. Only get it 3? Nope. Okay, it's also inconsistent. Even when you do it right, they just slide under it sometimes. It's so, like, why? But like, just always do just what's consistent, which would probably be like this. You know, actually. Yeah. Don't worry too much about the damage. Like, if you're struggling with the concept of like giving up 200 damage for being more consistent, like, I'm sorry, but when you're learning a character, you should focus on what you're doing and not how much damage you're getting. You know, focus on converting your hits into actual like combos. You know, converting them into knockdown and a little extra damage and meter, and that's what's important. Focus on learning to go back to neutral when you need to, and occasionally, you know, maybe taking the risk for a throw or something when you know they're respecting you a lot. I guess something else I should mention is her instant overhead, which is pretty good. I mean, last version it was amazing. It built, you know, did like 3.5k or something, and gave her like a really good knockdown, and only needed 50 meter. This version you're gonna need to spend like, you know, 75 if you want to get the full combo. Because you're going to need the extra 25 to get the extra 1,000 damage to pick it up in the corner, but it's a good tool. If you're worried about how you're doing it, it's just jump B, OMC, slight delay, jump B again. And you really have to worry about the spacing too. If you're too close, or if you like it's just going to whiff, you obviously have to jump forward while you do it, because they're going to move back while you're moving, while you're doing it, so the first one will hit, the second one will whiff if you neutral jump. You could also do it off like a block 2B. and that works too. But again, that ends up being sort of predictable if you're using that 2B. And when are you going to get in that close anyway? If you're overextending yourself that much, then that could potentially be a problem. But again, that's up to whether or not they're respecting you or not. And, you know, I'll leave that up to you. So what else do I need to cover at this point? I know I don't know. You know, I've been doing this for an hour, and I don't really know what I've even said anymore because I've had that other recording that went bad earlier. So, I guess I'll just leave it at that now, because I really don't know how words work anymore. So again, if you have questions, you know, send them to me on Twitter. I'll do my best to answer them. Hopefully I answered a lot of them in this video. And thanks for watching. Hope this helps somebody. So have a nice day.